It's Paul Marsh, and I'm delighted to say that I've been joined by star of Live at the Apollo, Rachel Fairburn. Rachel, thank you so much for joining me.
Hello, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, it's probably a very busy time for you right now because you are just preparing to go on your tour across the UK. Is this how do you feel at the moment? Is it a nervous feeling? Is it an excited feeling? Is it a bit of everything?
It's a bit of everything, really. And it's that kind of thing of like, you're just like, oh, can I just go now? Can I start now? Like, you just kind of, because it's been looming for so long. And then this couple of weeks just before it starts, I'm always sort of rehearsing it and going over it and tweaking things and, and making sure that I've got a decent sized suitcase. That's a very important thing. We need that. But also, it's just, I kind of keep going, can I just start now?
Yes.
It's the waiting that's the worst. I want to be sort of about 4 dates in. That's what we like.
Well, you're coming down south. You're coming to Fareham Live on the 8th of February. It's called
Yes.
the Side Eye Tour. Tell us why it's called the Side Eye Tour.
Well, I did the show in Edinburgh. It was called Side Eye, and it's the first time because I've been a stand-up for years, and I always wanted to do character comedy, and I think that's what I wanted to do before I even did stand-up. So I wanted to write a character show, and I always find it when people are not like I always find characters that are a bit sort of mean funnier than anything. So side eye, as we know, giving someone the side eye means being a bit sly. So each character that I've done probably has a bit of snidiness in them, a bit of slyness, a bit of the old side eye in them. And also side eye, it's just I thought it was just a good title for a show. That's it. Sometimes you do just think of titles and you go, oh, that'll be the title, and then you think, oh, there's no deep meaning behind it. I just like the word.
Well, it's funny. I remember talking to a few comedians last year, and we were talking about the title of the comedy tour. And it's not like, for example, a band's album where the title of the album is so important because it's going to be talked about for years and years. The title of a tour, for some reason, is nowhere near as important.
Nah, it's not really. Like my last tour that I did was called Showgirl, and that was purely because I always fancied wearing a showgirl's outfit, and I did on the poster. And I remember one of the reviews I got was like, "We really enjoyed the show, but she didn't mention anything about showgirls." I was like, oh, "Well, that's sorry about that." But yeah, it's interesting because sometimes you have to pick the title of the show before you've even started working on it. So, if you go into the Edinburgh Fringe in around this time of year, you'll find comedians picking a name for the show, and then when the show is on in Edinburgh, it bears no resemblance to the title. But yeah, it's not as important as bands picking their album names now.
So I have to ask you, how's the show going to work? Because we've seen comedians go out and do sketch shows and tour bits and pieces. The Fast Show, etc. Have all done stuff like that, and obviously comedians go out and do stand up for years and years and years. How's that going to work? Are you going to do like 45 of stand up and then go off and come back and do 45 of sketches?
Very good. You see, I like this question. It's a very good question. I'm actually going to do the character stuff first.
Okay.
Then we're gonna, and there's about 45 minutes of that, and it moves very quickly. So we do that. Then we have a break. Then I come back and I have a bit of a chat with the audience, and I do a bit of stand up as well.
Oh,
So
the chat with the audience is always interesting, isn't it?
chat with the audience. It can be, or sometimes you can just get stuck down a cul-de-sac and think, oh God, why have I started talking to this person? But it's yeah, I think that's the best way around to do it because I think it would be quite odd to do my stand up, do everything that I do normally, have a chat, get a bit of a and then be like, right, be different now because I'm doing character stuff now. I think it's better that way around. So it's a bit like they get the play, if that makes sense, then a break and then an audience with, you know.
I do have a really, really important question to ask you because I know
Yeah.
that you've done something that I've never seen anybody else do this, and it's very sort of this is something people do a lot, but I've never seen anybody like in the public eye do this. You've got the fact that you are an Oasis fan in your bio. That's a
Yeah,
really like you must be a massive, massive Oasis fan.
huge Oasis fan. Genuinely, I'm so glad you've asked me about this. I could talk about Oasis all day. Been a fan since I was about 12. First went to see them in 1995. Still got my T-shirt from that, which now is on eBay for £600. Not selling it.
Wow.
I love them. I cannot tell you how much I love Oasis. Am I glad they're back together for this tour? I don't know. I'm not sure. Time will tell. I don't want any new music. I will tell you that for now. Uh,
Mm.
we don't need a new album. We want the classics. I don't know how. I'm going to go and see them on the 4th of July at the very first gig where they come back
Is that
in
Cardiff?
Cardiff.
Yeah.
It's Cardiff. I don't know how I feel about it. I'll see. I'm getting a bit excited about it now, but I feel like they've never been away, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
like, because I love them so much, and like, there's not a day goes by that I don't say something. That my boyfriend's always like, "Oh God, here she goes again." But I was like, "Well, the thing about Oasis, and I love them so much. It's genuinely, it's such a passion. They are such a passion of mine. But I feel like they've never been away because we had like Noel's solo stuff and we had Liam's solo stuff, and Liam just did the Definitely Maybe tour, which I went to 2 dates of. So it feels like they've never been away. So now I am intrigued. I think the rumor is there's going to be a big Netflix documentary, which I
Oh,
am,
right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
which I will be very much looking forward to.
Well,
Um,
I have to say, there's lots of points that I want to raise to basically what you've just said. So I'm an Oasis fan as well. I got a ticket to go to
Lovely.
Wembley.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm also very nervous as well.
Yeah.
I'm also a Guns N' Roses fan, and I've seen them a couple of
Mm,
times, and I have to say, the first time was amazing. First time in what, 20,
yeah.
30 years, whatever it was, they were amazing. I saw them the second time, not quite as good, and then again, not quite as good, and then they're releasing new material, and you go, That's not very good, actually." Um, so yeah, again, like you say, I am a little bit nervous about it.
Yeah.
I also recently interviewed Adam Wakeman, son of Rick Wakeman, last year,
Oh,
and we were talking about Oasis and how it's been when he's been on tour with the likes of Ozzy Osbourne and people like that, and all
wow.
of these warring people. And he
Yeah.
said that he is absolutely adamant that Liam will have a dressing room on one side, Noel will have a dressing room on the other side, and never the two shall meet until they
Yeah.
get on stage.
Interesting. Isn't it interesting? I am very intrigued. Part of me, though, for Peggy, their mum, I think it must be really nice for her to think, oh, maybe they're going to be speaking now, maybe they're going to make friends. But I don't know. Noel's very stubborn,
Mm.
and Liam just shoots his mouth off, doesn't he? So I don't know. I don't know how it's going to pan out. I mean, I was amazed the photograph of them together that we got because people going, oh, it's superimposed, it's Photoshop. It's not. It's them. They stood
No,
together and
yeah.
there's a little video, and they sort of do say something to each other. But I don't know. I don't know. I am very intrigued to see how it's going to pan out, and I just don't want it. I don't want it to be a disaster. I want it to be a nice, a memorable, just an ending.
Yeah.
Let's have it as that. Nothing more. We don't want albums. We don't want anything. Just let's leave it as a nostalgic, lovely sort of gig.
It will be nice. It will be nice. Right.
Yeah.
Now we've spoken about the big main love in your life. Let's get back to
Yeah.
comedy, which is like the
Oh
second,
yeah.
really.
I've got to talk about that now. Yeah.
Yeah. You were recently nominated for the next big thing at the 2025 British Comedy Guide. That must have been really, really exciting and something special.
Yeah, well, do you know what? The thing is that I never win anything. I've done loads of competitions. I've done loads of it. I never win anything, and I know I never get nominated for awards. And I'm fine with that. And I was at a train station waiting to go to Manchester on a train to do a gig, and my agent sent me an email like, "Oh, you've been nominated for this," and I was like, "Oh, well, that's nice." Like a nice sort of. And it's nice to sort of be acknowledged. You know what I mean? And then part of me, that the rebellious bit of me, the Liam and Noel side of me is like, I don't need people's approval. Blah, blah, blah. But then when you do get it, you go, actually, that's quite nice. So yeah, next big thing, or as my friend misheard, next best thing. I was like, no, it's the next big thing. Don't go to next best thing. So that really made me. She's like, oh yeah, what is it? Next best thing? I was like, no. So
In
we were
all
laughing about.
in all fairness, it's better to be nominated for the next big thing in comedy rather than the eating awards, isn't it?
Oh my God, absolutely, absolutely. There we go. There we go. But yeah, it was, it's nice. And the thing is, like, I know everyone else on the list as well. We're all mates, so we've all had, a nice little laugh with each other about it.
Oh,
But
you surely you've had a £5 bet with everyone about who's going to win.
oh well,
Money in the kitty or something.
we've sort of said. I did say to my friend Josh Pugh, who's on the list, very funny comedian. I said, well, is there a cash prize for this? I'd be very happy to win some money. That'd be great. But we've not gone as far as saying who we think's going to win. But it's not, it's nice. It's just a nice thing to have at the start of the year. It sort of cheers you up a bit. In a
Wi-
cold January day,
Yeah, I
you're
like
waiting
that.
for a delayed train. Yeah,
Yes. Winner buys the first round, I think.
absolutely.
But it's not I mean, you have won other bits and pieces before. You've won Joke of the Fringe a few times and other bits and pieces. Chortle's won to watch list in 2020. You have won bits and pieces. So it's not alien to you that people are recognizing that, you're actually quite good.
Yeah, but the thing is, I always think that as long as people are coming to see me and enjoying what I do, that's sort of that's how I sort of see the success. And the thing is as well, when I set out to do stand up, the two things I wanted to do is like I want to become a stand up comedian. I want that to be my job, and that happened. And I worked really hard to get to it. And then I was like, the thing I'd love to do is live at the Apollo, and I've done that. So when when you sort of go, oh, hang on a minute, I set myself two things and I've done them. So what's next? So I always think anything else that comes along is a bonus. Do you know what I mean? As long as I can keep doing this as a job and enjoying it, and as long as, I mean, because I've had terrible jobs. Like I left school at 16 and I went into the world of work, and I've worked in shops, I worked in a shoe shop, I worked in offices, and I've had jobs that I hated. So as long as I can just, you know, not dread getting up in the morning, that's that's a bonus.
Here's a question for you then. So, like you say, you have achieved a lot. You've got a fantastic tour coming up. You've done all of these shows. You've won awards and bits and pieces. The next kind of step for you really is almost that superstar status of, Michael McIntyre, Jimmy Carr, Billy Connolly. These like great names. Now, these people can't walk down the street without being recognized. Would you like to get to that? I mean, I'm sure your bank balance would like to get to that statement, but
Oh,
would you like to get to that status?
my bank would love. Oh my God, my Monzo account would die for that. No, it's always a weird thing. Like it's strange because I do a podcast called Killer No Filler, which is really popular.
It
So
is, yeah.
I do get people sort of saying, "Oh, I like your podcast" or whatever. From that, I mean, I don't think I'd ever be the kind of comedian that's going to fill an arena. I don't think I'm ever going to be. No one's going to be Billy Connolly. No, I don't think we're going to have another Mickey Flanagan.
No.
But I don't know. I think to be honest, stuff like that. If you're I always think like if you're so rich from what you do, it must be so lovely. And I think then it's like if you get recognised, that's a bonus, isn't it? If people are saying, "Oh, I like what you do," and "Oh, can I have a little picture with you?" Yeah, why
Yeah.
not?
It,
Why not?
it's funny. I think when you're younger, I think when you're in your teens and your 20s and you dream of like that superstardom and
Yeah,
being on the front cover of a magazine and all those bits and pieces. And I think the older you get, the more happy you are with if I get to do something I love and live a good
yeah,
life, I'm more than
yeah,
happy with that.
yeah. Yeah, it's funny though. I always think that because people think that you're touring and you do bits of TV and stuff. I used to think that anyone on TV when I was a kid was a millionaire.
Yeah,
That's what I
yeah.
used to think. Well, they must be a millionaire. The one thing that I would say is comedians are not as rich as you think. If they're rich, they came into it rich, which happens a lot. There's a lot of well-off
Yes,
comedians that start from a
yes.
well-off point of view. But if I think comedians are probably we're skinnier than you think. That's what, that's what I would say.
If ever I have heard a plea to go and see Rachel on tour, that's it. Comedians are
Please buy
more
a ticket.
skint than you think. Buy some merch. Buy Rachel a drink or a sandwich or something.
Yeah, that'd be lovely. Thank you.
Rachel, like I've mentioned, you are about to head out across the UK with your side eye tour. You are also coming to Ferrum Live on the 8th of February. It's been an absolute joy to talk to you. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
talking to me.
Thanks.